Not sure a Lamborghini door should sound like that. Hey guys! So if you're new to this channel, feel free to subscribe. And if you're not new, then this car should be no stranger to you. But let me introduce it anyway. This is my 2003 Lamborghini Murcielago, and yes, that is the correct way to say Murcielago.
Lamborghini Murcielago.
Now this car had a sordid history. It was very, very rough when I got it. You can check out all the videos in my playlist down below. But today is gonna be the moment of truth. Can this car actually drive down the road without exploding or, well, exploding, that's probably the worst one. So some of you have asked why I didn't just buy a cheap used example of a Lamborghini to kind of make it in my own image. I didn't have to make the movie car. I didn't have to make a good example of the movie car. I could have just made something that I liked for myself. Well, I didn't exactly want to do that. One, because I couldn't afford a cheap used example. Even the cheapest of the cheap was twice as expensive as what I got this for. And the second reason is because I loved the story of this car. I love the fact that it was a cheap used example, and then the movie studio bought it and became world famous, and it became really, really used and abused. And then I saved it from its used and abused fate. So I think story is very, very important when it comes to projects and builds like this. Actually, that's a pretty good segue because no one knows more about stories than today's sponsor, Audible. So one of the things I've learned over the years of working on cars and getting myself and my garage very, very dirty, wow, that's way dirtier than I thought, is the fact that you need to keep your mind occupied, whether that's music, podcasts, or even better, audiobooks. Audible has the world's largest selection of audiobooks and audio entertainment, including Audible Originals. Audible Originals are stories created specifically for audio, including documentaries, exclusive audiobooks, and scripted shows that you can't find anywhere else. Audiobooks are perfect because you can listen at the gym, while shopping, in the car, while traveling. Basically, anytime you can't stop to read, you can listen with Audible. So as an Audible membership, you get one audiobook every month, regardless of price, as well as 2 Audible Originals from a fresh selection. And if you didn't absolutely love an audiobook that you have, you can exchange it for another one that you do, and you keep all your audiobooks forever. My go-to audiobook is Not Taco Bell Material by Adam Carolla. If you don't know what that is, go check it out right now. It is really, really funny. So you can start your 30-day Audible trial right now with 1 audiobook and 2 Audible Originals completely free. All you have to do is go to audible.com/Tavarish or text Tavarish to 500-500. That's audible.com/Tavarish or text Tavarish to 500-500 for your 30-day free trial. Go check it out right now. So let's begin. This is gonna be awesome, except for the fact that we already have a problem, and some of you may have spotted it. Take a look at these tires. Now the tires look very meaty. They are awesome. They are great compound tires. They are Michelin PS4Ss. However, they leave very, very little in terms of space in the wheel well. If you take a look right here, I can't get even my pinky finger, I can't get in there. And this introduces some rubbing because even the small amount of driving I've done, I haven't actually taken it on the street. I've just done a once around the parking lot just to make sure that there's nothing literally falling off the car. This does rub just a bit, and I don't want anything rubbing on the paintwork. So these tires are very expensive, but I can't really drive on them just because the fitment is not what I wanted. Now this is completely my fault because I wanted the widest wheels that I can get. These are 235 40/19 in the front and 345 30/20 in the rear, and I think these are a little bit more than what I needed, especially because Michelins, they do tend to run a little bit girthy. They are a little bit bigger than the Nittos that were on here. So since this is a SEMA build after all, and SEMA crunch time is very, very real, I'm actually having this car picked up tomorrow. I need to get a test drive in. I need to make sure that this car is good to go on the road and doesn't have any major flaws. So what I had to do was I had to overnight new tires, and I have to thank Michelin for this because they knocked it out of the park. I said, guys, I have an emergency, will you help? And they said, yeah, definitely. So what they did is they sent over, in the back we have 325, 25, 20. And in the front, we have 225, 35, 19. And these are gonna be a lot thinner, not only in profile, but also in width. It's only about a 10 millimeter difference and a 20 millimeter difference there. But like I said, they're a little bit girthy. So there's gonna be a very slight stretch. And I think the stretch is gonna help with this fitment right here. And also when the suspension compresses, it's gonna go into the wheel arch instead of into the fender. So what I have to do now is take those wheels and tires off, dismount the wheels, put those on, balance them, put them back on the car, make sure everything is torqued right, and then we can go on our first test drive. All right, the car is ready to go. I can't believe I'm saying that. Now, I did skip a few steps on camera. I didn't show you absolutely everything I did, but I just want you to take a look at the difference between the profile right here. You can see now I can stick maybe 1.5 fingers in between the tire and the fender, and on the front, it's basically the same thing. Right here, you can see that it's a different story altogether. This tucks in neatly inside the fender, and they look pretty good. I like the meaty look, but this looks spectacular. I can't thank Michelin enough. They did an awesome job. But the reason why I didn't show you everything that went on camera is because I did some wiring work. Right here, by the way, this car is registered and insured, and it's ready to go on the road. I don't know why they gave me an NBA plate. I'm not a basketball player, and when I get out of this car, that'll be very, very apparent. Right here is a little rear view camera, and that is connected to this. So this is an Autovox X1. That is a rear view camera. I can also change it for a front view camera. It's always recording. It has an SD card in there. And when I turn it off, there is a lane departure display. So it'll beep if I go out of the lane or something like that. I haven't tried this out yet, but it's pretty cool. Also, there's a regular mirror when you just turn this off, so I can see back there. You can see the engine and whatnot. Time and date and GPS is okay. This thing is really cool, especially because it looks almost OEM. And it really wasn't that hard to install, just 3 wires. But now that I have the tires on, I have the rear view camera in, and the car is basically buttoned up and ready to go, I have no other excuses. I need to go on a ride. Okay. Still not the easiest thing to get in. I've worked on this for a year, and it's a famous movie car. It's also the most expensive car I've ever owned or driven. No pressure. Brake pedal pressure is good. Clutch pedal pressure is good. AC is very good. Fun fact, this car doesn't have a traction control system anymore because of rear-wheel drive. If I give it any sort of throttle, it just cuts the engine completely because apparently the ECU thinks that the front wheels aren't spinning and I'm just doing a massive burnout. Yeah, that's apparently a thing. So I talked to Mark Guttersnake about it, and he was like, yeah, just drive with the traction control off. So, okay, yeah, it's 600 horsepower, naturally aspirated V12. Just drive with the traction control off. That'll be fun. Power steering works. Oh, the bat wings came up. The clutch engage is pretty good. Wow, that is so loud. Goes in the second just fine. Sounds so good. Third is okay. It tracks pretty straight. No nasty clunks. No scraping. This almost feels like a car. Tell you what, driving at low speeds, it's not actually that bad. I've heard horror stories about these cars not wanting to do anything low speed, like lurching and stuff like that. This is totally fine. It's totally manageable. It just feels like a regular car, except for the fact that it's super wide and orange and gets 2 miles to the gallon. And that one. Don't blow up, don't blow up, don't blow up, don't blow up. That'll get me about 3 miles. So since this is a car I actually want to drive, like drive, not just down the street, I want to make sure that it can handle stuff like traffic and going around town. Oh boy! Oh. Now a good way to see if the clutch is actually holding, you put it into 6th gear at around 2,000 RPM and you mat it. The clutch holds fine. The clutch is totally fine. That Bizzarini V12 that Lambo has had since 1963 in one form or another. This is one of the last iterations. It's a 6.2 liter and it makes almost 600 horsepower. Now, 600 horsepower might not feel like a lot right now if you're on the internet and you're bench racing, but back in the day, I mean, just think about it. The McLaren F1 had around 600 horsepower and that was the fastest car in the world for almost 20 years. So let me see what, if I can open this up just a little bit. Oh my gosh! That is incredible! If I'm getting a little emotional. I'm gonna tell you a story. So in the early 90s, my parents came to the US from the Soviet Union. I was born in Russia. And they came to this country with like $200 in their pocket. They had no money. And for us to get to the point where I can afford one of these cars and drive it and build it and share it with all of you, sorry. It really means a lot. It really does. never thought this would be possible. And I want to thank all of you for supporting me and just making this is a dream come true. This is absolutely a dream come true, and I don't know how else to say it. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little. It's also starting to rain, so that's gonna give me a little more work to do to wipe this car down. Guys, thank you so much for everything that you've done for me, for this channel. This couldn't have gone better. This could not have gone better. Speaking of it not being able to get better, looks like I've gotten caught in a torrential downpour here. So a Lamborghini with no traction control in the rain, probably not the best thing to give it the beans. And now I'm learning that my windshield wiper ain't exactly the best. That's one thing I didn't change. There is a underpass. This car is absolutely insane. This is insanity. So if I lower the window, you can hear the engine reverberating off the trees. Sorry, I'm laughing like a complete moron. One thing you don't get in turbo cars is that instant push when you hit the throttle. It is just intoxicating. So since we turned around, we're probably going right back into that rainstorm. But I don't care. I don't care at all. That right pedal is your best friend. It is impossible to not have a smile on your face when you're driving this thing. Oh, guys, this is a dream. This car is an absolute dream, and I owe it all to you guys. I owe it all to the success of the channel and just the amount of hard work that's gone into this car. So I don't want to gush any further. Hopefully you guys liked the episode. If you like this car, you can see it at SEMA, booth 50519. That is the Rag Company booth. Come and say hi. I'm going to be there too. So right now, I'm just going to wait on the shipper that's going to come and get this car. The problem now is I got this car real dirty going through the rain, and it doesn't leak anything. There's no weird rattles. Nothing's falling off. It seems like it's an actual car. So I am super, super pumped about that. We're definitely going to need to do a last minute detail, but this car is just amazing. I mean, if you ever get the chance to drive one of these, do it. So I'd like to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Audible. Thank you so much. You can check them out in the link in the video description. But until next time, it's me reminding you guys that on cars like this finished SEMA $1 million show car, guys. By the way, check these out in the link in the video description below. You guys need to wrench every day.